Hello, my name is Eleanor Drew, and I will be reading from a book that I'm currently reading, Eat, Pray, Love, which is by Elizabeth Gilbert. And it is a story about a woman who travels the world to find peace with herself in many different aspects of her life. And she travels to Italy, India, and Indonesia, where she eats a lot in Italy and prays a lot and meditates in India and finds love in Indonesia. And the section I am reading is a part where she is in an ashram in India, and she meets up with a gentleman from Texas. There are people from all over the world that come to this ashram, and he's an interesting fellow. So I'm sitting at the dinner table all by myself, making an effort to restrain my fork when I see a man walk over with his dinner tray, looking for an open chair. I nod to him that he is welcome to join me. I haven't seen this guy around here yet. He must be a new arrival. The stranger's got a cool, ain't no big hurry kind of walk, and he moves with the authority of a border town sheriff, or maybe a lifelong, high-rolling poker player. He looks like he's in his 50s, but he walks like he's lived a few centuries longer than that. He's got white hair and a white beard and a plaid flannel shirt, wide shoulders and giant hands that look like they could do some damage, but a totally relaxed face. He sits down across from me and he drawls, "Man, they got mosquitoes around this place big enough to rape a chicken." Ladies and gentlemen, Richard from Texas has arrived. Among the many jobs that Richard from Texas has held in his life, and I know I'm leaving a lot of them out, an oil field worker, 18-wheeler truck driver, the first authorized dealer of Birkenstocks in the Dakotas, sack shaker in the Midwestern landfill. I'm sorry, but I don't have time to explain what a sack shaker is. Highway construction worker, used car salesman, soldier in Vietnam, commodities broker, that commodity generally being Mexican narcotics, junkie and alcoholic, if you can call this a profession, then reformed junkie and alcoholic, a much more respectable profession. Hippie farmer on a commune, radio voiceover announcer, and finally, successful dealer in high-end medical equipment, until his marriage fell apart and he gave the whole business to his ex and got left scratching my poor, white, broke ass again. Now he renovates old houses in Austin. "Never did I have much of a career path," he says. "Never could do anything but the hustle." Richard from Texas is not a guy who worries about a lot of stuff. I wouldn't call him a neurotic person. No, sir. But I am a bit neurotic. And that's why I've come to adore him. Richard's presence at the ashram becomes my great and amusing sense of security. His giant ambling confidence hushes down all my inherent nervousness and reminds me that everything is really going to be okay. And if not okay, then at least comic. Remember the cartoon rooster, Foghorn Leghorn? Well, Richard is kind of like that, and I become his chatty little sidekick, the chicken hawk. In Richard's own words, "Me and groceries, we steady be laughing the whole damn time." Groceries. That's the nickname Richard has given me. He bestowed it upon me the first night we met, when he noticed how much I could eat. I tried to defend myself. I was purposely eating and with discipline and intention, but the name stuck. Maybe Richard from Texas doesn't seem like the typical yogi. Through my time in India, has cautioned me against deciding what a typical yogi is. Don't get me started on the dairy farmer from the rural Ireland I met here the other day, or the former nun from South Africa. Richard came to this yoga through an ex-girlfriend who drove him up from Texas to the ashram in New York to hear a guru speak. Richard says, "I thought the ashram was the weirdest thing I ever saw. And I was wondering where the room was where you had to give them all your money and turn over the deed to your house and car." But that never did happen. After that experience, which was about 10 years ago, Richard found himself praying all the time. His prayer was always the same. He kept begging God, "Please, please, please, open my heart." That was all he wanted, an open heart. And he would always finish the prayer for an open heart by asking God, "And please send me a sign when this event has occurred." Now, he says, recollecting that time, "Be careful what you pay for groceries, 'cause you just might get it." After after a few months of praying constantly for an open heart, what do you think Richard got? That's right, emergency open heart surgery. His chest was literally cracked open, his ribs cleaved away from each other to allow some daylight to finally reach into his heart. As though God were saying, how's that for a sign? So now Richard is always cautious with his prayers. He tells me, whenever I pray for anything these days, I always wrap it up by saying, oh, and God, please be gentle with me, okay?